So, Stefan, I put it to you to deal with Cornell's squeaky wheel gets the oil. What would you call it? Complaint? Confusion?
Yeah, not confusion. I'm seeing it clearly. The world is the one that's confused when it comes to this idiom, proverb.
Okay. According to Stefan, I believe it is a proverb. So we need to quote Stefan here, and I know we don't have his full permission, but I'm assuming he's fine with it. He's like a brother to us. So he said, it's time, never mind my fashion choices, because we asked him some of those questions. He said, time to tackle a major podcast problem, or to be precise, to tackle another Cornell problem. Okay?
Don't like the way it started out already.
Yeah. I have to admit, it took me longer than usual to really grasp the dilemma of Cornell's mental challenge in this particular case. So that was well put. But thankfully, this is not exactly a new sensation by now. So I think after a few days of extensive meditation, I've a little bit, to some extent, just barely, maybe understood what Cornell's problem is. And for a change, it has nothing to do with language, but surprisingly, with economics and the principles of maintenance. Okay, Cornell, are you with us so far?
I am, yeah.
So that's why I was having a hard time using language against your argument, because this is an economics issue, as Stefan pointed out. Right. In economics, you usually distinguish between minimum and the maximum principle. I'm not an expert, but basically you either try to achieve a set goal with minimal effort, or you try to achieve a maximal goal with a set effort. Or, as an example, let's say you want to buy a car. The first principle would mean you're trying to buy a specific car at as cheap as possible, while the second means to say, I have only $2,000 and I'll try to get the best car possible for that money.
I got that so far. My logical brain has checked that, ran it through, and it has come out 100% factually correct.
Okay, because this is just a spoiler for everyone listening. Cornell texted me when he saw the email and said, oh, great, Stefan agrees with me. And I think when our listeners hear this next paragraph, they'll realize that that's a crazy interpretation for Cornell to have from Stefan's email.
He is, all right, so he is arguing with me, but in reality, he's saying exactly what I'm saying, I feel like.
Okay, so let's let our listeners decide. I'm going to read the next paragraph. If we now apply this to the squeaky wheel cart maintenance, the proverb, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, is clearly based on the minimum principle. The set goal is the ongoing functionality of the cart, and the minimum action to achieve this is to grease the wheel that squeaks, and only the wheel that squeaks, okay?
Right.
This, however, goes against Cornell's understanding of proper imaginary cart maintenance, which I love. He seems to think this is not an efficient procedure, and that the cart's functionality can only be assured by regularly greasing all the wheels.
That's not what I'm saying.
Basically, in Cornell's scenario, the maximum principle is a better choice. The problem is, however, that Cornell can set the effort, regularly greasing all the wheels, but he can't achieve a maximum outcome because the cart's functionality is a binary state. It's either works or it doesn't. All right, do you want me to keep going, or do you have a complaint already?
I do have a complaint. I mean, let's just finish this, and then I'll just tell him all my complaints.
Okay. Of course, you can create another scenario where the functionality of the cart gets assigned a value, and where the degree of said functionality can vary depending on the intensity of the maintenance. But as the saying defines the state of functionality as not squeaking, the binary model, and therefore the minimum principle, is definitely the applicable one here, which means, and he wrote this in all caps because I think he's yelling at Cornell at this point, which I love. Cart works when greasing one wheel, only when it squeaks. This is enough. No more grease, no more greasing. And then we need to include this. Okay, I'm going to take a quick pause now to repeatedly bash my head against the wall and get this insanity out of my head. And then he takes an intermission on the email, which is just beautiful poetry. All right, Cornell. Now shit all over what Stefan did, and now we know Stefan doesn't even like being shit on just because he's German. It just so happens he does it to make money because Americans want to watch people get shit on. Go ahead.
Okay. So I feel like, Stefan, you are saying exactly what I'm saying. Of course, it is a binary state. It's a binary state. The squeaky wheel is the one that gets the grease, right?
Yes.
But if you take the proverb and apply it to what it's supposed to mean outside of this exact example, it's saying, look, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you need something, speak up.
Yes.
Because if you need something in silent, you're not going to get what you need. So it's implying almost that if you're silent, you're wanting the grease, if you will, but you're not making noise and speaking up for it. It's almost implying like the other wheels want the grease. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I see. So, okay, Stefan, allow me to take a stab at this. Please correct me if I do you wrong. I think what happens is Cornell's going two directions with this, right? He's going from wheel to humans, and then humans back to wheel, and that's where he's finding the problem. Is that correct?
So, yeah. So it's like the squeaky wheel gets the grease is almost like saying the unpainted house gets the paint. Of course. You know what I mean? Or the uninflated basketball gets the air. Yes.
No,
that's the only one that needs it.
Well, the unpainted house gets the paint is a crazy statement to make.
I know. Sure.
Yeah, because there aren't, there's not a common scenario where there's a ton of houses that need paint, or no, ton of houses, but only one needs paint. Yeah, I don't think that one works.
Okay, how about this one? The untied shoe gets tied. No shit.
No, I don't think that works. The untied
you don't think
shoe.
That works?
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's a minimum principle.
It's the minimum principle. The untied shoe gets tied, even though I guess maybe it works. And wait, but what's your issue with that? All the shoes are screaming, saying, "I want to be tied." Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly my. All right, so this is my issue. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you apply that to humans, say there's four of us and we all want a glass of water.
No, we're all thirsty, right?
Okay. Yes, we're all thirsty.
All four of us.
Okay, we're all thirsty.
Okay.
And there's one glass of water. Well, the one of us, you, me, Megan, Kuhar, and Stefan, we're all thirsty.
Okay. Matt, is that if that's not a sitcom or just the perfect nuclear family, I don't know what is.
Okay, and then only Stefan says, "Hey, I would like some water, please."
Yeah.
Okay, Stefan, here's the glass of water.
Yeah.
And then he drinks it and he's not thirsty anymore. And then we're still thirsty, but we're quiet.
Okay.
Then he's like, well, see, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, guys. You got to speak up because you're all secretly thirsty and you haven't said anything about it. Right?
Okay.
And that's how you would apply this proverb to that situation.
Yeah, he got what he wanted because he spoke up about it.
But this is the problem with that proverb in this situation, is that we are all thirsty, but we didn't speak up, right? So in the proverb, it's assuming that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but all other three wheels also want grease too?
Yes, I think it is assuming that they all want the grease.
But he's saying right here that the only reason you would grease a wheel is if it's squeaking, because it's a binary state. So that's the problem with the proverb.
He's saying he's not saying that's the binary state. He's saying the cart's functionality. Either the cart works or it doesn't, right? So it's not that the wheel squeaking is the binary state. It's whether, because the cart's still going, but it's only the squeaking wheel that gets the grease, right?
Well, look, it says, as the saying defines, this is from the textbook that Stephen emailed us. As the saying defines the state of functionality as not squeaking, the binary model, and therefore the minimal principle definitely explains. So the state of functionality is not squeaking, right?
Not squeaking, but still working, but still a cart that goes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this you oil the one that's squeaking to make it not squeak, and then it's functional.
Yeah.
But just because Stefan spoke up and said, "Hey, I'm thirsty and got a thing of water," that doesn't mean now we're all of our thirsts are quenched.
No. So here's I think I see what's going on. Okay. Because so Stefan spoke up, right? We need a fifth person, actually, I think, for this example. So,
okay, great.
So who's our fifth person? Who else has been?
It could be.
Oh, it could be Bridger.
Jen?
Okay, Bridger.
Okay, Bridger.
Because
Sure.
Bridger's been on the show.
Okay, great.
So Bridger, we're at Bridger's house. Okay, it's you, me, Megan, and Stefan. We're at Bridger's house. We're all sitting there, kind of thirsty, right?
Yeah, right.
Stefan says, "Hey, Bridger, can I get a glass of water? I'm thirsty." Bridger's like, "Sure." Gives him a glass of water. We're all pansies, and we're not speaking up. We're still thirsty, but because we didn't speak up, we didn't get water.
Right.
So if we spoke up, we would get water. So if we squeaked, we'd get water. That's the thing. I think you're saying that those wheels, the problem is not that the wheels aren't, want it. They need to squeak in order to get grease. That's the issue. The wheels are still working.
But this is the thing. The very problem with the wheel is the squeaking.
No, I think the problem with the wheel, yes, the problem with the wheel that gets greased is that it's squeaking. Right?
Right.
The problem with Stefan, but don't forget, all of us are thirsty. That's what I'm saying. But Stefan is the problem isn't not that Stefan squeaked under the water example. The problem is that the reason why Stefan gets satiated is that Stefan asked for water. He squeaked.
Right, but that's the problem with this saying, is because the problem in our example is that Stefan's thirsty. It's not the fact that he's squeaking. In this proverb, the problem is that the wheel is squeaking. That is the very problem with the wheel.
So maybe I disagree with Stefan. Is that what you're saying?
Dude, I don't know if Stefan agrees with what I'm saying. I'm completely lost right now.
Me too.
My eyes have rolled in the back of my head and I'm in a trance.
Yeah, this is so crazy how much this is what the podcast has become about, just this proverb. Okay.
So the wheel squeaking is the problem. We can agree on that in this proverb, right?
Yes.
The problem with the wheel is that it's squeaking.
Right. Okay.
So that is the only problem that needs to be corrected.
Right. The cart is
grease.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The other wheels are not squeaking.
Mm-hmm.
They're fully functional.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need grease.
We don't know if they might need grease to help run more efficiently or whatever.
They could need grease, sure, but as Stefan defines it, the only problem here is that the wheel is squeaking.
Right. So it gets greased.
So let's say, how
about this? Oh, I just thought of something. Are you ready?
Okay.
I'm excited about this.
Okay.
I think what we might also need to take into account here, because this is getting very complex and we're going to need some charts and things soon. Let's keep in mind, there are carts that are moving and there are carts that are stationary, right?
Okay.
And
this is a whole other wrench you're throwing into this thing.
Multiple carts.
Okay.
So there's all these carts there, right? It's not just one cart with one wheel, right? There might be, let's say there are 50 carts there. There might be 30 carts that have a wheel that needs oil to stop squeaking. But we're only hearing the one cart that we're moving and we're hearing squeak. But there are a bunch of carts there that have squeaky wheels. We just haven't heard them yet because they haven't been pushed around. How does that help?
I don't know. That makes it more confusing, I think, because whenever they start moving, then they're going to get greased. You would imagine they're going to start squeaking. Exactly.
When they squeak, they're going to get greased. But they're sitting around and they're not squeaking yet because they're on a cart and they haven't made the squeak yet, but they are squeaky wheels, but they haven't squeaked. And that's what we are in the water scenario. We're all squeaky wheels waiting to squeak. And once we squeak, we're going to get our water.
You know, it makes sense for this minisode that, you know, we just had this whole episode about mice and now we're talking about squeaking nonstop. Is perfect.
It is pretty beautiful.
But here's another, okay, maybe, I mean, that's interesting. I'll have to go ponder about that scenario.
Stefan, I hope I made you proud, my friend. That was for you, man. That's dedicated to you.
But I do bring up an interesting point. You can admit I'm not crazy, right? You kind of understand what I'm talking about?
No, so let me take you through what you've done with this and to me. I went from, oh, haha, Cornell, to, oh my God, how is he still talking about this? To, how is he not understanding this? To, maybe he's got a point. That's where we were just were. And then I was like, is this really dumb? And then I thought of the multiple cart world. And then I was like, okay, maybe I've figured it out. So it took you weeks to get me to actually take it seriously. But today I did. And I think it's mixed with Stefan's email. And now I'm like, oh, I see what you see.
Well, I'm glad you finally see what I see. Because I have one more scenario just in case Stefan has trouble with this. That's maybe more apt. Okay? Okay. So you, me, Stefan, and Megan Kuhar are hanging out at Bridger's house.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And we sit down, and all of a sudden, Toad and the Wet Sprocket starts playing on your phone, right? Sure.
Well, that is my ringtone. So that if Jen calls me, it's that song.
It just starts blaring. It's playing. Mm-hmm. And then Bridger's like, oh, man. Someone's phone's playing music. Oh, it's Joe. I'm going to go turn off Joe's music. Mm-hmm. Because you were the squeaky wheel, and so you got your music turned off.
Yeah.
But we didn't have music playing. So why would he come over and try and turn our music off?
Wait a minute. Okay. Well, that got crazy there. That got crazy. At some point you did LSD during this podcast, I can tell.
Well, I'm just trying to imagine an example where you would be making noise, a la squeaking, and would be your problem.
But see, so the difference here is it's voluntary, right? Like this is something that with me wanting water, it's like it's me needing something to get fixed. This is something that's happening to me that I could easily turn it off, right?
Or okay, let's say we're all sitting around and you start choking, and Bridger's like, "Oh my God!" And he runs over and gives you the Heimlich maneuver. Right? You're like, see, the choking person gets the Heimlich maneuver.
Right. Okay. Yeah, but now we're talking about, I think we're called like tautologies. Those are things by definition, where the squeaky wheel, the squeaking of the wheel doesn't stop the wheel from working, right? It's just annoying. That's why it does it. Me choking to death is hopefully more than annoying. It's something that needs to be fixed in order for me to function. Right. Okay.
So, all right. So how about this? You start burping uncontrollably. And then Bridger's like, "Oh my God, someone needs a tummy rub," and he comes over and rubs your tummy, and then you stop burping and feel all better.
Yeah.
And so you see the burping guy gets all the tummy rubs.
Right. But I think that's different. Again, I think because I'm not able to control the burps. This is just like me choking. This is not like a desire. I think it needs to be a desire.
Does it?
Yeah, I think so. It's like, because the squeaky, if the reason is the squeak in the person example, it's you want something, or the person who speaks up about something that they want or need gets it, right?
Right. Well, you need and want the Heimlich maneuver when you're choking to death.
Right. But scenario would work if everyone there was choking, but only I was the one audibly choking, saying, "Hey, I need the Heimlich maneuver." Then I think it would work. Well, I don't know what Bridger's doing that we're all at his house choking.
No, what I'm saying is that's not the case.
Right.
Because in this scenario, it would only be you choking because you're the only one that needs because the problem is the choking. Just like the problem with the wheel is the squeaking. The squeaking's the very problem. The wheel isn't squeaking to say, "Hey, excuse me, I have a different problem over here. my wheel is messed up. Actually, you need to grease this part to help this other problem with me, the wheel. The very problem is that it's making noise.
Right, but so yes, the choking example works is that it's a noise that's going to get action, right?
Not that it's a noise that is going to get action, is that it's a problem that's going to get solved by Bridger. The problem with the wheel is that it's squeaking. It's not that the squeaking draws attention to another problem. The wheel squeaking is the problem. So you choking is the problem.
Okay, so then what's your point?
And so why would Bridger give any of us the Heimlich maneuver when we're not speaking up? We don't need it. We're not choking.
Exactly. He's not. He's only going to give the person choking the Heimlich maneuver, which is the point of the expression.
but he's going to solve your problem. He's going to solve your problem.
Right.
But it's assuming this proverb assumes that me, Stefan, and Megan all desire to have the Heimlich maneuver too, but we're just not choking.
No, that's not fair. That's not fair because choking, I think you're changing it. Choking is a state, right? And then there's like the state of choking, and then there's audibly choking, right? Those are the two things going on here, right? And you're saying because I'm audibly choking is the...
No.
Well, that's well, then it's not an analogy to the wheel because the wheel can run, or the wheel can The wheel can be, going back, there's a bunch of wheels there. Only the one squeaking is going to get the oil. There can't be a bunch of people choking there and only one person's going to get the Heimlich maneuver. Because they all have to be choking in order to get the Heimlich maneuver.
But, okay, so what do you think is the problem? So what's the problem with the wheel to you?
The problem is that it's squeaking.
That is the problem, whether it's audible or not. I mean, it doesn't matter that it's audible. The problem is that it's audible. It's not the fact that it's drawing attention to another problem, right?
Right, to stop the noise.
To stop the noise, right. And that was fixing the problem, is making the noise stop. If you're audibly choking and he comes and just puts his hand over your mouth and goes, there, now we can't hear Joe anymore, that's not going to help you.
But so wait, now your point is you're comparing choking to a squeaky wheel? Is that what's going on?
Yes, I am. Because you choking is the problem.
Right.
It doesn't have to, if you want to transfer this analogy to other places, it's not the fact that this wheel's making noise, it's the fact that this wheel has a problem.
No, I don't think I think that's, the thing is, again, go back to the multiple wheels things. You're only the one that squeaks is the one that's getting fixed. All these wheels do squeak. They just aren't squeaking at the moment, right? I think that's the difference. Where the choking one's impossible because it's like you can't have a bunch of people all choking and then you know what I mean? Like yes, you can have a bunch of people, some will choke and some won't. But it doesn't work with the wheel example, I don't think.
So, I mean, the only thing that maybe confuses this, I always assumed it was a single cart. And I think and the fact that the cart has a problem, it's squeaking. So you grease the squeaky wheel.
Yes.
But the fact that the wheel is squeaking is the problem. So you're going to rectify the squeaking. You're going to stop it from making noise.
Right.
And that's going to solve the problem.
Yes.
And so if we all went to Bridger's house one more time, I'll try one more analogy.
Okay.
And you started uncontrollably screaming, or you had that like uncontrollable laugh and cry disease that I've seen commercials for, right? Mm-hmm. The problem for you is that you're making noise and you want to stop.
Okay.
We all want you to. Bridger wants you to stop, actually, because the wheel doesn't care if it squeaks. Bridger wants you to stop. Yeah. So you're uncontrollably screaming, and he plays some soothing Toad in the Wet Sprocket.
Sure, that works.
And, gives you a glass of I don't know, warm soy milk. Or something, and soothes you, and you stop making noise, and that has solved the very problem. Now, he wouldn't put on Soothing Toad the Rat Sprocket on headphones for me and give me a glass of warm soy milk or for Stefan or Megan because we're not uncontrollably yelling.
Right.
So why would he assume, this proverb assumes that me, Stefan, and Megan really desire a headphone full of Toad and the Wet Sprocket and some warm soy milk, but we're just not making enough noise to get that. Do you see the problem with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, I don't know how much longer we can go over this.
I know.
But no, I guess so. But like, we're not. I think because I have this medical condition, right? So I am this thing. You guys aren't that thing, right? So it would be. I think it's only fair if it's all these people in this area have this medical condition, but I'm the one that's having the episode at the moment, yelling at it. I'm the one that's going to get treated.
Okay. But then you're also the only one who is having an outbreak, or I don't know what you would call it, an outbreak or whatever. Having
exactly.
An episode
if you want to get treated, have an episode.
But so you're saying all these other wheels have problems and desire grease.
All these other wheels have the potential to need grease because they will squeak, but only the one that's squeaking at the moment is getting the oil.
I feel like we're at a standoff because I don't think those other wheels need grease.
You haven't heard them yet. You don't know.
And if I know I haven't heard them yet, which means they don't have a problem.
Because you haven't seen them.
It means I do know. It means I do know that they are perfectly functional.
But no, you're assuming that. And then all of a sudden you go take cart number 3 out and you're like, oh, this one's squeaking too. Now it's going to get the oil.
Okay, so now you're going back multiple carts. There's multiple carts sitting there, and you move one and it squeaks. Yeah. Sure. And there's a bunch of other stationary carts that filled with squeaky wheels.
Yeah.
You're not going to grease those wheels because you're moving the other one that is squeaking.
Right. So it's always there's always got to be, the world is multiple carts. There's not a one cart world. I think you're trying to make us live in a one cart world where there's tons of carts out there.
So this proverb is talking about multiple carts.
Multiple carts. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but then, yeah, I guess that makes sense. So basically it would be being in motion gets you grease.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, squeaking and being in motion.
Well, right. Right.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're gonna squeak, the only way you're not gonna squeak is by being still.
Yeah, being silent.
Being silent and still. You got to hope to get pushed a little bit so that you can show off your squeaks to the world.
Yeah, and then you get treated, and then you get what you need.
Well, I'm satisfied.
Oh, man, do you think anyone... Okay, Stefan, we know if you make it to the end, please send us an email as well, because that would be amazing. If anyone else, whether we know you or not, I know my sister's been listening, other people, if anyone else makes it to the end, even if you hate emailing us, just let us know, because I would be so happy to know someone listened through all that last 20 minutes.
Stefan already wanted to bash his head against the wall.
I know, I get it. I do too now.
I mean, I do feel like I was finally heard, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. That is very true. You were heard. I'll admit you weren't heard until today. And
there is maybe a little something wrong with this proverb, or confusing about it. Mm-hmm. But overall, when it comes down to it, I totally understand what it means.
I know, you don't even have a problem with it. I don't even love it. I'm defending. I don't know why I got in this position to defend something I care nothing about. But that's this podcast. I really feel like this sums up the podcast.
That's great. That's great. I love this. This is fun.
Yeah, this is awesome. All right. Well, thank you for listening, Stefan. The offer is out there. Officially, you've been offered a guest spot on our podcast. Ball's in your court. Anyone who made it to the end, we love you. God bless you. Whatever it takes. I'm sorry. I hope you're okay.
And hey, Joe, thanks for joining us today once again.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure being here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a new episode, very fun episode. I believe we have another language episode on Monday. So if you love Cornell's takedown of language, you're going to enjoy his creation of language on Monday. All right. Well, and the question guys podcast at gmail.com.
And now, a Question Guys Minisode with Joe and Cornell.